Hello everyone, welcome to a 5-minute presentation video. My presentation is dealing with the topic of US policy towards North Korea's nuclear issues. It has 4 main sections: research background, research plan, analysis, and the result. Before we go any further, I'll briefly define the research background. This research notes North Korea's ambiguous positions, which has shown unwillingness to negotiate denuclearization with the US, while emphasizing its nuclear power status since 2005. On the other hand, the US policy goal has been the complete denuclearization by curbing international isolation and economic sanction in the past decades. As two states sharply divide over differences in the process, sequence, and speed, the bilateral negotiations remain uncertain without substantial progress. Given that all North Korean nuclear talks have been made after the nuclear crisis, the US should take lessons from the past nuclear diplomacy and present more practical alternatives. In these circumstances, it is argued that the US policy should pursue nuclear disarmament approach, especially arms control, by recognizing North Korea as a de facto nuclear power. However, security costs and international disagreement cannot be overlooked. Therefore, this paper aims to examine the effectiveness of this approach to promote North Korea's non-proliferation. This paper is dealing with 3 research questions. The first question is whether North Korea can obtain nuclear power status by analyzing de facto nuclear weapon states, India and Pakistan, to examine the condition and process of US recognitions and apply them to North Korean case. Second, the paper will analyze the causal relationship between the recognition as a de facto nuclear weapon states and the possibility of promoting nuclear non-proliferation. This leads me to the last question. Should the US recognize North Korea as a nuclear weapon state and abandon the goal of denuclearization? 2 research hypotheses are established, and a comparative case study will be used as a methodology. India and Pakistan case apply hypothesis 1 and compare them to North Korea to verify hypothesis 2. Process tracing will be organized a process between the recognition and the non-proliferation in nuclear weapon states. The mediating variable I found is non-proliferation responsibility, mainly nuclear disarmament for nuclear weapon states. An analytical framework will consist of international rebel, including international treaty or convention, international organization, export control regimes, and other non-proliferation regimes, and the national rebel, including disarmament records, nuclear posture, and nuclear cooperation agreement. According to the result, it is highly unlikely for the US to recognize North Korea as a de facto nuclear weapon state. North Korea today can not only satisfy US recognition requirements, but lacked US sovereign state recognition as a precondition. Besides, recognition may facilitate states' participation in international organizations. They are still reluctant to join the international legal framework and developing nuclear weapons and missile systems every year. Therefore, hypothesis 1 is partially verified, but hypothesis 2 is rejected. To make a difference with India and Pakistan case, North Korea disarmament should take a long-term, step-by-step risk management approach towards complete phase denuclearizations. A flexible and phased negotiation can propose incentive given at each stage by calculating each deal's costs and benefits. Arms control can be an early stage that can prevent North Korea's abandonment and provide an effective way to build trust. As Pyongyang has firmly insisted on security guarantee, The regime survival is the most significant incentive for North Korea. For North Korea, either recognized as a nuclear power or sovereign state, it inevitably requires US recognition. However, if the North Korea does not pursue fundamental changes, it will be difficult for the US to accept it as a sovereign state and further recognize it as a nuclear power. Therefore, US action for stable coexistence, including security dialogue and the end of declarations, should continue with the disarmament process, not to remain a last resort. In conclusions, North's acquisition of a sovereign status rather than nuclear status will provide a decisive clue to draw a concession from the North Korea to pursue complete denuclearizations. That's all for today. Thank you for your time.